Hi everyone, I am so excited to share with you the easiest way to paint trees. And this technique is so addicting and so fun, you will find yourself painting trees over and over again. And it's such a great technique too because it translates very well into your regular landscape paintings. So let's get started. Grab your favorite watercolor paper and paints. It's not going to really matter what brand or type they are to be able to learn this technique. Start with any large round brush. I'm using a size 10 Princeton right here, and we're going to dip our brush into the water and start painting blobs with clean water. Now you want to think of trees, tree shapes, but you also want to leave some gaps and spaces in between, and you'll see why later. Now, depending on what color you want your treetops to be, you're going to start dropping that color into those watery blobs. I'm using sap green and indigo, letting everything blend and bleed together. You can also create a harder textured edge where there's no water, like you can see I'm doing here on the right, but I like a good mixture of hard and soft lines as I'm playing with the colors in this treetop. So you can just dip your brush into the water and soften some of those edges so that you have a really nice juxtaposition of light and dark, contrast, textured, and more airy. So this is the tree top, and we want to work really quickly so that this stays wet while we paint the ground. I forgot to refill my yellow before I started painting, so I refilled that super quickly, and now we're going to paint the ground. And you can do any colors you want, any colors that you want to be in the ground. The biggest thing to keep in mind is that the top and the bottom need to stay wet for this technique to work. So we're going to move very quickly. And then another thing that I like to do is I like to have different colors in the top treetops and the ground. So I like to play with the different colors that would be on the ground, the different colors in the leaves. You can do any colors you want. You can do any shapes you want. Art is supposed to be fun. Do pinks and purples. Do random, fun, whimsical colors. Just add colors and make sure everything is staying wet and that you're moving pretty quickly. So now I've got my ground and I am switching really quickly to a longer brush. This is a size 4 round long. And what I'm doing is I'm swiping between the top, which is the treetops, and the ground quickly. I'm dragging the paint with a clean, damp brush from the top to the bottom or from the bottom to the top. And this is creating tree trunks. And I love this technique because in some of the lighter areas, the tree trunks are really light and they almost look far away. And then in some of the darker areas, they're a little bit darker. And then if you move really quickly, some of the colors from the top and the bottom blend together in the same trunk, and it just gives such a beautiful effect, especially if you can manage to get to this tree trunk part before everything starts to dry. Don't forget to add branches before the trunks dry, so just another quick little swipe. I feel like the quicker and the more fluid I can do it without thinking about painting the trunk really slowly, the more organic it looks because some of them are a little bit wobbly or leaning to the side, and I just love how natural that looks. And then while everything is still wet, you can continue to play with the colors. So I'm adding some darker green at the base or up in the leaves where there would be shadows. I can add darker tree trunks to look like trees that are a little bit closer, leaving some of those lighter trees for maybe trees that look like they're farther in the background. And one of the reasons I think this technique is so fun is because it very quickly looks like trees and it looks like you know what you're doing. If you're moving fast enough that everything is still wet, then the trunks are blending into the bottom blob and the top blob, and they look very cohesive, very on purpose. So that's why I think that this is the easiest way to paint trees. You just need to move quickly. So we're going to practice more trees. I'm going to show you 3 more examples with different colors and different shapes at the end of this example, but I am going to finish off the details of this one first. So you can see that while it's still wet, I can play around with the colors, I can play around with the textures, I can add darker colors for contrast. But another big tip I would give you is try not to mess with it once it has dried, because it won't look as fluid and organic and kind of that easy watercolor look if we mess with it after it's dried. We want all of the marks to be made while it's still wet. And here is the final piece. I just really love the way this looks. It's so loose and fluid, and you can tell what it is. It's the perfect addition to your landscapes. Now I wanted to show you 3 other examples where I'm using different colors for the leaves and for the ground. I'm also changing up the shapes, doing different things with the tree trunks. Like I said, you will be addicted to this technique, and it is so fun to play with the different possibilities within it. And so I just want to invite you to watch this. I'm not going to do the voiceover because it's the same. It's a blob on the top and a blob on the bottom, connecting them in between to create that beautiful, fluid watercolor look for these trees. So enjoy, and I will see you at the end of the video. And that is it. 3 other ways to do this beautiful technique. Thank you so much for being here today while we painted the easiest trees, in my opinion, possible with watercolor. I hope you find value in this video and that you take it into your own practice with your own landscape paintings, and I will see you all next time. Bye.